I can.
Well, I read that piece by Cardoso, and basically, this is an instance of blame game, rightfully so, and blaming the former CBN governor and how he managed the affairs of the CBN, and saying they were going to move away from that, and basically saying that if that 10 trillion was invested in a properly manner, it should have actually benefited the country. There's no can we can go on and on and on and continue to blame the former administration, but right now you're the one office. What are you going to do differently, and how are Nigerians going to feel that impact moving forward? Or would we have another 4 long years or 8 years, however it may be, and then when the next administration comes in, they'll find something to blame the next, because we've been on this trajectory for a long time. Good luck, Buhari blamed good luck, and now Tinubu is blaming or Buhari. And funny enough, this is the same party. It's expected that your ideologies are different and the ways to manage government and their resources and whatnot, it should be the same. So the discrepancies, I think, is something that, and this is one of the negatives of not having political parties that are ideologically motivated. So yes, he's saying that moving forward things are going to be different. We can only hope against hope, but right now Nigerians are taking to the streets, whether under the umbrella of the NLC or not, to make their voices heard. And the government needs to know that a piecemeal approach is not the way out for the Nigerian people. They need a more sustainable and innovative approach towards restoring our economy.
Deborah Yusuf, thank you so much for being part of the program. Believe it or not, we've come to an end of this segment. We've had such a wonderful time with you, helping us analyze stories that made it to the front page this morning. Thank you.
Thank you for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Well, it's time now for Dr. James Komolafe with the behavioral check segment. Remember, that's that segment that gives us those holistic well-being tips, from emotional to spiritual to mental health. You just trust Dr. James Komolafe to give us those tips. So stay tuned. He's standing by.
Hi out there, great to meet you here again today. Dr. James Komolafe, your behavioral health doctor, live for you again on Aso TV radio on the series on emotional dehydration. Greetings from Saba Resources Intervention Hub, your one-stop behavioral health hub that handles the good, the bad, and the ugly via behavior modification principles. Today I have an exciting topic for you on emotional dehydration, and you want to say, what is it? It is the symptoms of emotional dehydration. How do I know when I am dehydrated emotionally? Oh, you are out there saying, I only know of physical dehydration, when my body lacks the fluid, the water content, and I'm running dry. Which one is emotional dehydration? Yes, man is essentially spirit being. He possesses a soul and lives in the body. So your mind is implicit in all that you are and have and will ever do. Everything you take in by way of ingestion feeds your life in all entirety. Your persona is fed via it. You take water, yes, you are fed by it. You are sustained by it. As it is in physical dehydration, where you run out of fluid, so it is in emotional dehydration. And you may want to ask, what is the fluid? You need the life fluid. coming out of the recesses and the processes of your mind to power your daily emotion. So emotion is the force of life, where you burn and build energies on 4 critical lanes: mental energy, emotional energy, physical energy, and even the spiritual energy. So you are emotionally dehydrated when your emotion, your capacity to interact and interrelate with others is short-circuited. You are deflated. You are drained. You have the short fuses there. You are dehydrated. You can't take things for too long. Before you say jack, you lose fire, you lose steam. You are dehydrated. So how do I know further when I'm dehydrated? 1, instability becomes the order of the day. You pant here and there. You are restless. You lack concentration. Your energy is in the drain. You experience what I call mental fatigue or weakness. Memory losses becomes the order of the day. You are so forgetful, and you say, I don't know why. Frequent mistakes, known and unknown issues clog your mind, and you experience quick tiredness, short fuses. Anger management challenges becomes the order of the day, and you wonder why. It is simply because you are emotionally dehydrated. The fluid you need as a result of immediate critical supply of resources from your mind that powers your emotion are not there, or you have just less of it. When you are stressed, you become nervous wreck. You have an unbalanced lifestyle protocol, not in harmony with your other area of life. The physical and the mental and spiritual realities are just running riot altogether. Are you there out listening to me? And you are dehydrated emotionally, and you see instability and all kinds of mumbo jumbo lifestyle now? Please put a call through. We have a reality check to help you spot check, and then we'll reverse the trend and reset you to your default mode, so that you can bounce back and achieve full optimality. Then you are stable without being static. Then you are structured without being silenced. And there you have it. My number, Coach Komolafe. My number, 08035999220. I say it again in case you are not in Nigeria. +234 8035 999-220. Call us today. I and my critical team will support you to find balance as an individual, as a family, as an institution. We domesticate incentives that will make room for that rounded balance for you. I hope you got a value today. Thank you so very much. See you next time, and bye-bye.
Mr. President, last Saturday, the country which I have the honor to represent, the Federation of Nigeria, became independent and assumed the rights and the responsibilities of a sovereign state. Today, Nigeria has been admitted into the United Nations organization and assumes still more responsibilities. I wish to make our position plain beyond any matter of doubt as regards the African continent. We in Nigeria appreciate the advantages which the size of our country and of its population give us, but we have absolutely no aggressive intentions. We shall never impose ourselves upon any other country and shall treat every African territory, big or small, as our equal, because we honestly feel that it is only on that basis of equality that peace can be maintained in our continent. We in Nigeria are a populous country. There are about 40 million of us, and our territory is relatively large. We are willing to learn before we rush into the field of international politics. But we are totally unwilling to be diverted from the ideals which we think true. That is the reason, Mr. President, why we in Nigeria shall not be found to align ourselves as a matter of routine with any particular bloc. Indeed, I hate the very idea of blocs existing at all in the United Nations. It seems to me to be a contradiction in terms. When we hear the world crying out for peace, we may receive the inspiration to deal with these intractable problems and be able really to devote all our resources to the advancement of mankind by applying those eternal truths which will inevitably persist long after we ourselves are utterly forgotten. Thank you, Mr. President.
The challenge of Nigeria as a free state in 20th century Africa is the need to revive the stature of man in Africa and restore the dignity of man in the world. Nigerians believe passionately in the fundamental human rights. We regard all races of the human family as equal. Under no circumstance shall we accept the idea that the black race is inferior to any other race. I appeal to all our leaders, far and near, to forget the wounds which were inflicted in cause of our internecine altercations. The love of our country should outweigh the love of our petty selves. The enjoyment of individual freedom under the law should mean more to us than our self-centered party programs and manifestos. Common dangers and common enemies alert us on the need for common security. Come and join Abubakar with me, Sadauna, Awolowo, Akitola, Osadebe, Okpara, Ikoku, Aminu Kano, Ibrahim Imam, and Saka. Let us bind the nation's wound and let us heal the breaches of the past so that in forging our nation, there shall emerge on this continent a hate-free, fear-free, and greed-free people who shall be in the vanguard of a world task force whose assignment is not only to revive the stature of man in Africa, but to restore the dignity of man in the world.
Our first efforts at democracy and self-government were abruptly arrested in the mid-60s, largely as a result of the incongenial atmosphere engendered by the uncompromising stance adopted by the political parties of the First Republic. Thus, opportunities were lost for our people to interact and learn to accommodate different points of view for the betterment of the country. We must not allow that episode to repeat itself. The new system that will have adopted presents us with yet another opportunity to achieve national integration, which is a prerequisite for the building of a strong and virile nation.
The welfare of millions of people for generations to come may be affected by the wisdom which we here display. If Nigerian leaders and our British partners are to prove themselves worthy of their trust, now is the time for us solemnly and truly to dedicate ourselves to seeking the greatest good of the greatest number of our people in Nigeria. Independence for Nigeria in 1960 is imperative. But independence for Nigeria as a corporate entity is not enough. The peoples of Nigeria must at the same time be guaranteed their freedom. We must ensure that in an independent Nigeria, individual citizens throughout the land enjoy liberty, human dignity, and equality under the law. There must be one Nigeria with one constitution and one law for all. Let us therefore, Mr. Chairman, sir, close our ears to the counsel of despair, which says that we cannot here at this conference agree on a constitution. If there's any doubt among us as to what should be written into the constitution, let us, as Democrats that we profess ourselves to be, refer such problems, as the goal has done recently, to the people whom we profess to represent, either just before or at the federal elections late in 1959.
We are a nation blessed with people of diverse cultures, religions, languages, and opinions. It is ironic that we are now being ripped apart by our greatest strength, our diversity. We have allowed intolerance, insensitivity, bigotry, and nepotism to blind our vision of the greatness we can achieve working together as one. We may not have the same culture, nor religion, nor language, but we all belong to the same nation by the divine will of God. We did not choose to be Nigerians. Nigeria chose us. This nation is our divine heritage, and if we open our eyes, we would realize that what divides us pales in comparison to what unites us. And by the comparison and conciliation of our differences, we will grow until our differences disappear. Our unity cannot be wielded by mere declarations, nor do we get unity by ignoring the questions that beg for answers. We must celebrate our diversity and debate our differences without fracturing our unity. Our strength is not in our numbers, but in our unity, because even the weak become strong when united. Nigeria unite.
This message is brought to you by Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, owners and operators of Aso Radio 93.5 FM Abuja, Aso Television DSTV Channel 392, Star Times Terrestrial Channel 127, Free TV Channel 507, People's TV Channel 285, and UHF Channel 38.
Welcome back from that break, and I'm sure you enjoyed Dr. James Komolafe's behavioral check segment, where he gave us what a new concept I'm just learning about, emotional starvation, he called it. Well, if you're emotionally starved, do something about it, as it will affect every facet of your life, especially your productivity. So listen to Dr. James Komolafe, place a call and fix your emotional starvation. That's a concept I'm just getting to learn, but That's it with Dr. James. You are definitely going to learn something more. Now we are moving at the real starvation, the lack of food starvation, where NLC, I mean, in the news earlier, it was very obvious that NLC has halted their protest and made fresh demands to the government. However, how sustainable is this? How are you and I, the common man, as they like to call us, how are we feeling the pulse of government, and what exactly do we want from government? This, as government has said, is a global meltdown. It's not just Nigeria that is facing all of this, but how can we fix ours? We don't need to get into a recession. We don't need to get worse with our inflation. What can we do to support government and ensure that there is the economic development that we hope for? In the studio with me to do justice to this topic, our in-house analyst will be telling us what she thinks should be the low-hanging fruits for government. Tosin Adeyemi, thank you so much for being part of the program.
Good morning, Joy.
Yes, good morning. I mean, it's always nice to see you behind the scene, but we dragged you out here today. Tosin, NLC halted their strike protest. I keep saying strike. The protest after just one day. Do you think it was sufficient to get the kind of attention they wanted?
I think it's not, because the protest was for 2 days. But yesterday we learned that the government called them, spoke to them, and told them that they're going to look into everything. Just like what you said it's the government said it's a global meltdown, but let's just pick our own country out. Let's be specific about our own country. Our own is ours. We're concerned with what we're going through. There's food scarcity. For Joy, everything is really tough on the common man, and the common man is lamenting. Every day we are lamenting. Look at the cost of transportation. Look at the cost of food. Everything is narrowing down on the common man. Exactly. What is the government doing about this? Exactly. Yes, they've reassured us that they are going to look into this. They are going to do something about it. But how fast will they do something about it? It's not, we've had so many promises coming from the government. We're not blaming the government, definitely, but we want them to be fast about it. They should be proactive about doing something about these things. Okay, we're looking out to what the government is saying, and we hope that Comrade Joe Ajero will follow up so that something will be done for everything to be at ease, even for the common man and everybody, so that life will be favorable for everyone.
Tosin, I mean, when you look at how much food prices have gone up, the things we used to buy for say 5 naira has gone as much as 20, in some cases even more, you know, and it's so difficult. It wasn't as bad as this when we had that statistics that 133 million Nigerians were multidimensionally poor. So I can just imagine if that statistics is done now. It is really terrible what a lot of people are facing. Just look at, see, it's all fun and games to be in the Asokoro Meitama Aziz.
Under the AC.
Under AC, you know, so get into some areas. Some people tell you stories, and I'm not even joking. I mean, I know that people can tell several stories, but some people tell you stories and you cry as to what people are indeed facing just to survive. It's getting really bad for people. So what would you suggest that the low-hanging fruit is for government to start doing now? I, for one, do not believe in cash palliative. So what's your suggestion?
That's what I'm saying. Even the cash palliative, how well would they even go to the common man? Because there it's for the masses and going for the poorest of the poor. What is the statistic of the poorest of the poor? How do you get to go to these people? What I would say is that create opportunities. Joy, we shouldn't wait till we see stories. We see people out there. You see people now begging. Like there was a documentary I watched where a meat seller said, you see people come to the market fully dressed, but they are begging. Oga, please, madam, please, I don't have food to eat. My children don't have food to eat. It's glaring. People are really going through hard times. So I just hope that opportunities will be created. Create job opportunities. If job opportunities are created, definitely people will go out to work, and people will have things that will something that will provide food on their table. And also, just like you said, this cash palliative is not just it, because that's where we see some corrupt practices taking place. Because even if the money,
Tosin, even if there is that monitoring and evaluation and that insisting that it does get to the poor right now, if let's say 75,000 naira lump sum. I know the former Minister of Humanitarian and is it Social Development?
Yeah, that's better.
Better do had said that they were going to give 25,000 naira 3 times. That will end up 75,000 naira or so. Let's say that 75,000 naira is given to the poorest of the poor as we speak right now. What business can that person start up? Even if the person wants to say, okay, I'm too hungry to go into business, what can they possibly buy that will be sustainable for them? I know she was talking about, Nigerians, it was only the elites that do not appreciate the 75,000 naira. It looks like a small deal, it looks like a small amount, but to these people it is a lot of things. But what is counterproductive if I cannot use that 75,000 naira to buy enough products that I can sell to sustain me? So there's so much that has to be fixed when it comes to the economy, and not necessarily, and the business environment, and not necessarily the quick fixes that we see our government do. But let's talk about agriculture and the intervention that should come in there. Do you think it's been an intentional political will to revamp the agricultural sector and see us thriving there?
It should be an intentional thing, because our agricultural sector is of utmost importance to us. Because you can't talk about someone thriving without good food on his or her table. We need to eat before you can do anything. You need to be fully full before you can do anything. Food is really important when we talk about our human day-to-day activities. So we just call on the Ministry of Agriculture, to do all it needs to take to revamp the agricultural sector. We need fertilizers in our farm. We need ways to make our soil organic. Our soil should thrive. We should not have issues with pests eating the crop. And even we have this issue of this insurgent group destroying farm produce, even if farmers go to the farm and plant their crops. So we see that where all the insurgent group go there to destroy all their crops. But something needs to be done about the agricultural sector. We need to take it with utmost priority, so that food will be available for everyone. Because definitely, Joy, if the tummy is full, people will go out to do something. A hungry man cannot do anything. And we have the saying that an hungry man is an angry man.
Exactly.
Definitely, if you are hungry, well, what can you do? You can't do anything. So we need something to be done about the agriculture. We need something to be done about almost all sectors need to be looked into, and priority should be placed on all these sectors, so that the common man living will be favorable for them. Because if living is favorable for the common man, we won't hear issue of militant group, we won't hear issue of insurgent group, and we'll be
becoming more attractive.
Yes,
it's indeed becoming attractive if there is nothing much being done in that sector, especially the security sector, to ensure that they curb it, and then there is hardship. So young people who would never have considered joining crime would now start considering it, and that's not good for a nation that wants to thrive economically. Nobody wants to come into a volatile nation to invest. That's the truth about it. But when we talk about this investment and priority and all of that, we've also heard the government make several promises. We are declaring a state of emergency on food insecurity. We're going to give hectares of land for farmers. We're going to give seedlings. We're going to give fertilizers. Nothing was done. And if something was done at that time, maybe we would not be where we are right now, when we can't even afford to buy rice. You cannot afford to buy rice. I remember something was trending yesterday on the internet, the social media spaces. The price of noodles. Somebody said, if you visit me and I buy and I cook noodles for you, anything I say you must do. Because if I have to buy noodles for as much as 18,000 naira for a carton, that used to be the cheapest thing. I remember noodles were 30 naira for one that year. Maybe I'm very old.
No.
It used to be 30 naira. That's how much we used to buy it. But if I have to buy a carton for 18,000 naira, Where can the common man now lean? This common man, all of us, where can we lean? I mean, how much is our take home? It means we can't feed, you know.
Feeding is important, Joy, and just like what you said, we need food available. We need all the sectors to do checkmate their activities. Looking at what you said about Indomie, yes, Indomie now, what students normally take to school is a fast food where after class you just prepare it, something you prepare very fast. But now it has become gold in quotes. Students can't take noodles to school any longer. It's now for the high and mighty, right. The rich. Now when you take Indomie to school, you're a rich man picking in quotes. So we just need things to be done, things to be placed in check. Look at rice, look at the price of rice, look at the price of beans in the market. We need everything to be done. I know of a state where seedlings was distributed to farmers, even farm produce was distributed, and they promised them different pesticide for their farm to kill all those pests that is destroying their farms. If other states can also imbibe that, cultivate that culture, exactly, and do it for their people, we shouldn't wait for the government. Everything mustn't be in the hand of the government. Even state governors on their own, they should take this responsibility on their shoulder. They should do something about this. Look at the importance of your citizen, people in your state. You are the state governor. You're supposed to supersede those people and oversee all the sectors and know what they are going through, know their plight, know what where they are facing difficulties. Is it in the farm? Is it in the concerning securities? Because it's one thing to go to the farm, it's one thing to plant the seedling, it's one thing for your crops to grow, and another thing for it to be destroyed right before your eyes. So something needs to be done. The state governors need to checkmate all these activities in total and do something about this, because we can't be crying for hunger, we can't be crying for insecurity, and we keep on receiving promises something will be done. We need it to be done very fast, because if you're promising us that something will be done very fast, then it should be very fast. Okay, look at what the protest was supposed to be yesterday and today, and now it has been postponed. We just say, okay, we've had the promises in which the government is giving us that, okay, something will be done very fast, but we just hope that, yes, assurance.
Do you remember the assurances we got from last administration? Okay. We assure Nigerians that the economy will be fixed. We assure Nigerians, but one thing I listened to an economic expert yesterday speak about was the sabotage within ourselves. You know, it seems like we are our own problem. Yeah. Where prices are skyrocketing, not because of the forces that are affecting it. We're not saying that there are no forces, but Nigerians are doing this intentionally. That's what, having done his statistics, he said. He gave an instance as to where he was in the market and had purchased a certain product for a certain amount. So the amount was quite high, but he was like, okay, then he bought that thing, left it in that place, went to another store to get other things, so that when he's leaving he could just pick that. When he got to that store, he overheard another person trying to get what he just got from the other store for a certain price, but this time it had gone 300 naira more than what he got in the other store. So he was like, oh, these people must be making their prices so high. By the time he went back to the other store to pick his product, the guy was like, it's good thing you paid. If you didn't pay and just probably just negotiated and left, I would have increased this product because I just got a call.
Old stock.
I just got a call. Now, you know how it is. This call is just, somebody just says, I will no longer sell for this price, so I'll start selling for this price, and that's all it takes. And it's so unfortunate because you are not factoring in those things we usually think about. I mean, some of us who did preliminary economics were told that it is cost of products that affect the cost of the cost of production. Cost of production affects the price. Logistics. There are a lot of things they often factor into this, but apparently not, just because you change the prices of commodities. And when the government had talked about increasing or rather regulating prices, a lot of us were very skeptical. These people have serious cabal. They have a serious cabal. Madam Nkechi has increased that is what is going to be a business as usual. So when people ask you, what happened to goats? Are they now eating coded grasses? What happened to the price of goats? You know, what happened to the prices of especially a lot of things that you don't need to even bring from another place? Vegetables. What happened to vegetables? You don't need electricity now for vegetables. Are they whine me? People would say, what is going on? Why are you increasing the prices of vegetables to such a price? I mean, if after factoring in the increase in logistics, what's going on? But you will look straight somebody in the eye and make. So do you believe in this sabotage within the system?
Definitely, I won't believe in it, because I will see this as man's wickedness to man. Because we are the ones doing ourselves. That's what. Let me just use this word. We are the ones doing ourselves. Just like what you said. We looking at old stock that have been in the market for in your shop for this long. Just because you had that the price have been inflated in another store, you inflate yours while yours is an old stock. You just increase the price just to be wicked to another man. Just look at vegetables. Look at cucumber that you found here. And when you ask them how much is this cucumber, they tell you dollar. What you concern cucumber? What you concern dollar? Those kind of things. So
Tosin, thank you so much for being part of the program. Really, and I just hope that Nigerians are a bit sensitive to what's going on. It's not really easy for a lot of people. So when you do that, it affects several people. Thank you, Adeyemi Tosin, for being part of the program. We'll go for a short break to bring back our next guest. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Investment Plus. Today we're looking at money skills you can start teaching your kids from now. Now, as a parent, one of the greatest gifts you can give your children is the knowledge and skills to manage money wisely. Now, today we'll explore the essential money skills you should start teaching your kids from now. Money skills are essential life skills that children can benefit from an early age. Now let's dive into the key money skills you should start teaching your kids to help them become financially responsible individuals. Skill 1 is saving and budgeting. Teach your children the importance of saving money and setting financial goals. Encourage them to save a portion of the allowance you give to them or the dash monies they get from uncles and aunties or earnings, and set up a savings jar, which is your piggy bank or bank accounts for them to put the money into. Help them create a simple budget by allocating their money towards different categories such as saving, spending, and giving. This will instill the habit of responsible money management from an early age. Remember, Warren Buffett started investing from as young as 11 years old. Skill 2, differentiating wants from needs. Teach your children the difference between wants and needs. Help them understand that needs are essential for survival, such as food, clothing, shelter, while wants are things they desire but can live without. Teaching them this is very important. You must encourage them to prioritize their needs over wants and make thoughtful spending decisions. This will help them develop their ability to make sound financial choices in the future. Skill 3. Delayed gratification. This is very important for kids because this is not something that they learn easily. You must teach your children the value of patience and delayed gratification. Encourage them to save for larger purchases rather than seeking important instant gratification. For example, if they want a new toy, encourage them to save from their allowance to get that toy, within a few weeks. Don't teach them that whenever they want something, they can get it instantly. Don't raise them up with the culture of buying impulsively. Now, this will foster discipline, goal setting, and long-term thinking in kids. Skill 4, earning and entrepreneurship. You need to teach your children the concept of earning money through chores, odd jobs, or even starting their own small business. You have to help them identify opportunities to earn money and guide them to understanding the value of hard work. Children must know how money comes. This will instill a strong work ethic in them and an entrepreneurial mindset from an early age. Skill 5, giving back and philanthropy. Teach your children the importance of giving back to community and practicing.
Thank you so much to the Investment Plus. That's our financial management segment where we get to learn about how to, manage this very dire period. Speaking of the period and how a lot of Nigerians seem to be groaning under the economic hardship, there's been protests here and there. We'll give a spotlight right now to the youth development and economic growth. We've been talking about how we can energize our economy to a point where Nigerians will no longer be crying but really thrive. It's an opportunity to show the world that we've got the number and we've got the power and innovation. I will not talk too much because the master of them youth development is right here in the studio. We have Prince Godswill Edward, Executive Director of Prince 7 Youth Development Initiative. He was also an aspirant in the just concluded elections, gunning for the #1 person in Cross River State.
Thank you.
I wish we had time to go into your experience there, but today we'll be talking about youth development and the economic challenges Nigerians are facing. What is going on? The pressure is getting worse. Like
my problem is that Nigerians need to be patient. Rome was not built in a day. Do we have crises? Do we have problems? Yes. It's never seen any time, especially involving crisis management or developmental management. You realize that when there's a problem and a solution comes, it takes time. So I want the people of Nigeria to be patient with His Excellency, the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, which we believe is doing very well in terms of his policy formation and in terms of wanting to solve the problems of the country. He's a man who has done it before now, tested and tried, with a good teamwork. We're going to achieve a better country. What we need is to keep praying. Okay. Keep solving the problems. We keep discussing about issues. How do you change the narrative? I think that Mr. President has a very good media-friendly environment where you can correspond, communicate.
He may have a media-friendly environment. You work with the youth a lot, but I would like to ask, the initiative this government is churning out for youth development, are you really aligning with them? Because we hear such policies or initiatives as cash transfers. Today we were talking, a government official was even suggesting food stamps, palliatives. Is that a sustainable initiative?
Well, for me, I think that we need to be intentional about helping to develop skills and also build talent. Young people, shouldn't be given food. This narrative of every time youths are looked at as people who are hungry. No, but look at how you solve the problems finally. You don't give them fish, you teach them how to fish. We have young people with very amazing ideas, that needs funding. Some of them need the right mentorship and the right platform to exercise themselves and show strength. We have the number, we have the population, we have the intellect. There's no employment out there, but when you create skills and develop talent of one young Nigerian, you help to also create a sense of belonging and resource control for other of his peers. For example, see what the Burna Boy and Davido and Wizkid are doing. Look at what the Nollywood, and then they've pushed themselves to that height. Even to our footballers, just this morning, Victor Osimhen donated 2.5 billion naira to a young child in Ivory Coast who dressed like him to go and play local sports. What are we trying to say? It means that we know what to do. We just need the right environment. I don't believe that any of our superstars today got there by the help of the structures available. They were able to find themselves that sense of belonging. So I want the government to instrumentally position their mindset towards enhancing and developing skills and creating value in exchange of vices for young people. Whether you give them food today, how long are you going to keep feeding them? Some of them have ideas, some of them have platforms, some of them have stuffs they want to do. There's nothing bad if you invest that energy and say, we want to help 100 young Nigerians who are good in music who have done so well. We want to help them promote their song as a government. We want to give them platform. We want to ensure that every of our projects, every of our conferences held by government, these 100 Nigerians will be the ones to perform. And if you're paying them 1 million naira each to perform for each time you invite them there, you're giving them an opportunity. You've done videos for them. You've opened up both private and government channels to play their music. Then you're empowering young people in that industry. You wake up and say, oh, we want to look at local producers in the movie and entertainment industry who have been doing content. We want to help them by giving them 5 million naira each to produce something valuable. You put food on their table. They are going to need a cameraman, they're going to need a sounds engineer, and all these people will receive pay. So we need to begin to look at the creative industry as a panacea to helping to solve insecurity problem. Then look at the sports sector. How many young people own football clubs? What are the challenges of their football clubs? What do we need to do to support them? We have opportunities to send our players out of the country. What's the Ministry of Sports doing in that regard? So sector to sector, we must begin to look at youth development. In the tourism aspect, who are our tourism experts? Who are the young generation we need to groom and give an opportunity? Who have ideas to boost the tourism industry? Give them support. It's better than all this food on ground. We need some of them to be able to feed themselves and humanity. The population is growing. Unemployment is increasing.
It is increasing.
Talent development and skills. I just launched an initiative. We said give them ball instead of guns. Why do we do this? Because we feel that you have to give them value in exchange for vices. Exactly. Some of us should be consulted. Some of us should be sat with at every point in time. I think I have almost 18 years track record of youth development, intentionally doing it from my own passion. So we can do a lot to solve this problem.
But there's only so much you can do if you are not engaging with government that has the apparatus.
That's what we're saying. The government
and you are very close to the powers that be, and I'm surprised that you're saying we need to be consulted. I expect that all hands should be on deck to get this country going forward. What are you doing in engagement?
For some of us, we're engaging. Every day of my life, I engage. I support, I inspire. I put my life, my time, my resources, my energy on the line, ensuring that I serve the purpose of Nigerian youth and Nigeria in general. I'm a member of the APC, a proud stakeholder of the APC, and I'm
good.
And at every point in time, I'm tackling issues because I believe that's why I started by saying that Nigerians must be patient with the government of the day. The government is doing all they can, and even instead of you to sit down there and complain, do something.
Exactly.
Contribute.
Speaking
it's
about
our country.
Doing something. Prince God's will. I mean, we saw our youth very vibrant during the electioneering process, but I expect more. I expect the voices to be heard right now, because a lot of people, like I said, are groaning in this hardship. Why are we not hearing the voices of the young people?
You say we stoop to conquer. And
here we go.
No. It's not like here we go. In a country where you know that there are challenges, and all of us who are very educated and filled with a lot of experience, we know that you don't just solve problems immediately. You just look at the policy of the government in terms of addressing multiplicity of agencies, which is something that some of us have been speaking about for a very long while now. And His Excellency is looking at that, which is cutting governance. His Excellency is looking at a lot of approaches. When I look at the policy direction of the government, I'm excited to an extent. I know that we cannot get it all fixed immediately, but it's a gradual process. So as citizens of the country, what you need to do is to pray for the government, support the government, and then also be conscious. There's room for constructive criticism. But when you don't have any constructive measure to criticize the government, you don't just need to speak because you want your voice to be heard. We shouldn't take advantage of the problem, but we should take advantage of the problem positively in solving that problem and changing that narrative. It's our country. If the president fails, Nigeria has failed, but I know he won't fail. So the president will win. After all, he has track records of excellence. What he did in Lagos, today he has a good team member. People here, I think he's one of the most prepared men to have ever led a nation. And for me, I feel that we should believe in him, pray for him. And if you have ideas, reach out, write to the government through any agency and say, this is what I think we can do. I feel when we sit down as young people or Nigerians to have a discussion about the state of the nation, we should be coming from a place of solutions. What are the solutions we have to advise government? Not every time we sit to discuss, you're criticizing the government. Nigeria is not about the geographical location, but it's people.
Exactly.
So we are Nigerians and we are Nigeria. So no need to keep saying God punish Nigeria. No, we should say God bless Nigeria. No wonder an American will always say God bless America. No matter the face of adversity or adversity, we must continue to stand firm, to believe in the patriotism zeal of our nation, and keep supporting the president, pray for the president, and speak at every corner where people who are not educated, who don't understand what government is all about, are complaining, and you are a government person with sound mentality to know that these things take time. You should be able to speak to those citizens in your corner and make everybody feel at peace that we are doing something and that we will get there. You know, but when you sit down, even when with people who are educated, people who know what governance is all about, out of sentiments of opposition or political differences, you know, you begin to speak ill of a government and begin to cause more outgrowths of humanity. You know, we should calm down and take things a step by step. For me, I will continue to commend the effort of the president and his team and say they are doing the best they can, and let's continue to wish Nigeria good.
Of course, while wishing Nigeria good, I'm happy you said you aligned with the policy direction of this government.
But we can do better.
Oh, okay. I didn't see that part. I didn't hear that part, rather.
We are available. You know, my take at every point in time is that 75% of the population of society is centered on young people. I think the youths are enough is not being done. And I like to use the opportunity to also commend the effort of the Minister for Sports. But I think that at this point in time, all sports facilities in the country, the way they are, we don't need renovations. Let them open them up for young people to burn their energy, play ball, play volleyball. You know, we stop keeping them for political campaigns and church crusades. We need energetic youths who are putting energy into positive dimensions. Let's open the space. You know, there should be shows and conferences. They said if you don't engage young people, an ideal man is the devil's workshop.
He is.
We're having security,
I want us to
kidnapping, and crime.
The sports development. I know you have a sports club as well, the Prince 7 FC. That's another exciting feather to your cap. Well done. However, what would you say in the policy direction that you are aligning with? What would you say? How would you say it is very sustainable in the kind of initiatives they are bringing out to improve the sport development? Because when it comes to talent hunt, we are seeing young people from Africa leave Africa to be discovered abroad.
Exactly.
That's very unfortunate, but it's happening. You know, and there are several, like you said, little hubs and clusters that people can actually align with and get better and get picked out and be invested.
First I must say is this. You know, when you look at the caliber of some certain people who in the helm of affairs of some certain agencies of parastatal of ministries, you kind of feel some level of comfort. You know, Senator Waneno has a track record of excellence and somebody who always wants to create a niche for himself. He wants to build a legacy. So having him in the sport ministry as minister, for me, gives me some level of satisfaction.
How is the engagement with him with the issues around the sports?
That's what I'm saying. You know, for me, I believe a patient dog eats the father's bone. I still believe in patience that is dignified. You know, patience that has to do with dignity of labor. So we're looking at from the just concluded food tournament, you know, and this disposition in managing the club, our team so far shows some level of excellence. But we believe that there should be more outstanding measures in addressing sports development in the country. Some of us will continue to advise, some of us will continue to proffer solutions when needed, but we feel that the population of Nigeria and its youth energy is so advanced and so enormous that if we can pitch human resource, we can get so much value from human resource and even our natural resource. The strength of any nation, it is people, and the engine room of any nation, it is youth population who have the ability to be innovative, who have the strength to defend the nation in sports and insecurity. So we continue to wish Nigeria the best, and we thank you, people like you, and for this platform that is given at every point in time to discuss constructively measures of addressing problems and preferring solutions in our country. Thank you.
God's will, Edward, it's always wonderful to have you talk so passionately and with such enthusiasm about Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Well, this is where we draw the curtains on Aso Morning this beautiful day. My name is Joy Asoye, urging you to stay tuned to Aso Radio and Television as we have other programming. But for me, have a productive day.